Hey folks, it's Marvin Cash, the host of The Articulate Fly, and we're back with another Casting Angles with Mac Brown. How you doing, Mac?
We're doing great. How are you doing, Marvin?
As always, just trying to stay out of trouble, and I guess tomorrow you will be a year older and a little bit wiser, right?
Well, we hope the wiser part. That would be good, wouldn't it?
It would be good. So folks, if you see Mac this week, you need to wish him a happy birthday. It's a big one.
Oh, it is a big one, Marvin. Another year around the sun.
Yeah, there you go. And so I know you were out the Thanksgiving weekend on the water. What did you see?
We're still seeing a lot of blue wings and a lot of midge hatches, pretty regular. After that rainfall we had last week, Tuesday, we got about a half inch of rain. And the wild streams didn't really come up at all. I mean, there wasn't much increase in water flow, but they stayed clear. And that's where we saw most of the midge activity in blue wings. Out on the tuck, it turned muddy for two or 3 days. With only a half inch of rain, and it got it muddied up pretty good. And so out there, I didn't really see a lot of hatches, after it turned muddy. But it's back. It's back where you'll see blue wings and midges out there as well. But those are still really good things to throw. Like downsize, go really small. Fish small things, because I think the biggest mistake we see out there is a lot of people trying to throw, big patterns they throw in the springtime this time of year, and that's catastrophic on the activity. They're not looking for big things this time of year.
Yeah, because I guess in general, right, as there are progressive hatches throughout the spring and the summer into the fall, the bugs keep getting smaller and smaller and smaller, right? So, if
That's
you're,
right.
yeah, so if you're going to do big stuff, I mean, when I think the only kind of big nymphs I generally fish in the wintertime are stoneflies, because they basically take more than a year to mature to be ready to hatch.
Yeah, that would be a good choice. That, and then there's some good larva stages for like Brachycentrus caddis, or that's good all winter long, because they're available. They go through the series of instars and get a little bigger. Right now they're about a half inch on the wild streams, what we're seeing in size, anywhere from a half inch to 5/8, I'd say. That's a really good cold weather pattern as well. Like on a 14, hook fishing, we call it the chimney caddis, or Brachycentrus caddis is what it is. But yeah, that's a good pattern too, along with your stones.
Yeah. And is that what they call stick bait in East Tennessee in the park?
No, that would be your limnophilidae caddis, where it actually builds its home, and it has a series of sticks that are about 2 inches to 2.5 inches long. And inside there's a worm. It's pretty long. It's like 3/4 of an inch, kind of clear, translucent body with a black head. That's what they mean by stick bait. It's about the size of a tequila worm. When you think about it, it's kind of like what you'd see in a bottle of mezcal.
Yeah, it's kind of weird though, because you're fishing and you're seeing this like cluster of sticks move, and you're like, "What's that?" And then you realize that it's a caddis.
That's right. Yeah, those will also be preyed on when it get hard in the winter. Like you can watch larger brown trout go over there and actually go after them. What they'll do is they'll rub against those sticks until it exposes. I mean, they'll break it up, and then they see the worm. And red horse will do that as well. There's a lot of red horse in the rivers here. And you'll see the red horse go over there when times are slim, and that's what they know. They know it's there. And that's kind of neat. You can see tailing red horse doing that in the wintertime.
Yeah, and I know too, we were talking before we started recording that you've got kind of a favorite type of water to fish this time of year. You want to share that with folks?
Well, yeah, one of my favorite things is when I have a day off is to go to the impoundments. And a lot of them I can get to by road or hike in. A lot of them I use a boat, or like a drift boat, or a motorboat, either one. But the bottom 1/4 to half mile section of all these creeks and rivers that feed into the lakes are excellent this time of year, and they'll stay that way up until February. So that's kind of like one of the hidden gems, I think, in this part of the country to really focus on, and which means get off the beaten path, not a DH, not a favorite popularized stream that you hear about either. Just look at a topo and find watersheds that are big enough to justify going it and exploring it, because those are rarely disappointing this time of year. The size, the quality of the fish, that's kind of why we like doing it. The quality of the fish that are in there. are coming up out of the lake. They're a lot better size, average size than what you'll see on that stream typically. Because, the fish that are coming up out of Fontana or Chioa or Calderwood or Tennessee Reservoir, Nantahala Lake, Wolf Lake, those are all, they're going to be quality fish. They're not going to be like your average, Appalachian fish size in a little small stream. These lake fish are quite a bit bigger.
Yeah, because they basically get to eat all those forage fish. It's kind of like, fishing on the Watauga or the South Holston and getting down close to the lake, right?
Mm-hmm. Similar there. I'm sure that's good right now too, fishing down towards Boone Lake, because you get a lot of stuff that comes out of Boone Lake going up, and not a lot of places capitalize on that even over there. They're still fishing, up by the weir, big string, fishing way up on the upper section. But yeah, I'm going to go over there and fish that with a friend next week that lives there on Boone Lake. And we went to high school together, and he lives right there on the lake. So we can run up the lower end of it a pretty good ways. And there's some nice trout that come up out of Boone Lake to that same, into the Holston. And a lot of them will go up a mile or two, some of them much further. But that's a really good place to target.
Yeah, good for striped bass too.
Mm-hmm. There'll be a lot of those. Yeah, for sure. But the sizes of things, like what we're seeing as far as just like on a wild stream that we've been going to, that's what I've been on more than anything, is here's some good pattern ideas for folks. Is like bring back like the old school brassy, like in 24s, 22s, the blood midge, the stripper midge, like Lake Boyd developed there on the Holston. That's a great pattern. Those are probably my three favorite, for emergers and things. Bar emerger is another one that I'll use some in really small sizes. The same is like John Barr out in Colorado developed. That's a great pattern. Then the other one would be like CDC representations for like the dries. Like the blue wings are incredibly small. I know people are thinking, well, I'll get away and throw an 18 parachute. I'll give you an example. The blue wings, if you look at them in size, they're about a size 26 right now. So an 18 is like a Titanic on the water. So it's a lot easier to tie these dry flies just using a thread body, caught daily on tail, split it, and just put a puff of CDC in the front and be done with it. That's the way you tie like really small dry flies, a whole lot simpler. It's fast and, efficient, and frogs fanny it up and you can see it a long time and you don't have to redo it until you catch something on it. So that's my favorite small, like dry to throw this time of year.
Yeah, got it. And, we mentioned, folks, last time that we were going to let you guys know about some classes we were doing. And I'm working with Mac. We're going to put out a 3-part online casting series with one class in January, one in February, one in March. And the goal of that is to basically kind of cut through a lot of the myths that people have about casting, to kind of give you a new foundation and a way to basically systematically get better and kind of check yourself. But then also the last session, we'll actually talk about, situations you find yourself on the water and how to cast in those situations most effectively. So the goal really is, Mac, you and I talked about it. We wanted to do something to help people get better faster and be less frustrated on the water, right?
Yeah, that's a big part of what we're going to try to shoot for. And just when I got into this game out of college in my early 20s, it became evident real quick. Even big casting clubs that have been in existence for 150 years, that what people practice is what they will become. So if they go to the park for 30 years and they're still working on just throwing loops and hitting a target straight away, that's one way of looking at it, but that's not going to help immensely in fishing on current. And so what we're going to address is, the different planes that we cast in, plus the different advanced control that we can do to develop, which means there has to be a practice regimen. And so the situation I described at first, the practice regimen, was incorrect, in my opinion, because they get good at that one thing, but it brings no game to the table. And, that wouldn't be fun, sitting in a boat, having to watch somebody, and that's all they could do, because there's going to be a lot of fish we can't catch until they learn those things. And that's why I think it's easier to just spread the gospel and talk about practice structured regimen of where are we trying to get to. And if we don't know where we're trying to get to, then the people are still, that's what happens. They still spin their wheels decades later thinking that they're doing what they should be doing, but they're still missing out. And so I think that's the exciting thing about being able to have those 3 classes in the winter.
Yeah, and so folks, they're online, and the great thing is they'll be live, and if you're available for the live session, you'll have the ability to ask Matt questions. But, if you can't make one, don't worry about it because they're going to be recorded, and we're going to make them available for folks for at least a year after the class date. And if you go to the Articulate Flies Instagram profile, you can find the link in my link tree. And I'll drop it in the show notes. And I think Max probably got it in his Instagram profile as well. But the great thing is for a few more days, there's a lingering Black Friday special. And if you use the coupon code casting10, and that's all capitalized, whether you buy 1, 2, or preferably all 3 of the classes, you'll get 10% off. So, you should check that out. We're really looking forward to doing that. I've done some online stream classes before, and it's been a lot of fun, a lot of success, particularly for people that, don't live close to a show, or it's hard to get to Bryson City to personally spend time with Mac. This is about the next best thing. So be on the lookout for that. If you have any questions, email me or DM me on social media. Happy to answer them. And Mac, what else have you got going on heading into the holiday season? One, I guess, let folks know what you got going on. I know you got a bunch of new show stuff, but I imagine you might have a school or a talk, or, you might take some people down the river as well, right?
Yeah, we're still doing some trips around town, like in Bryson and some of the wild streams near Bryson. And the big thing really is, yesterday it rained all day here, and it was a good day to get tickets for all the winter shows coming up. So I bought plane tickets yesterday for about 4 hours. And so that was exciting. Shopping all the different airports. I'm kind of like stuck in, I can go out of one of 4 airports and they're all about the same distance. So that's always exciting to look at all 4 for figuring out where we're going to go to. But the latest one, I guess, can't remember if we said it. Maybe we did, but going to Michigan, which I'm excited about getting up there to Detroit. And Phil Rowley and Michael Murray and Alice Owsley will be there. So when he told me that, I'm like, yeah, I got to do that because I've been wanting to get up to Michigan for a while. That's going to be a fun event. And that'll be March 9th and 10th, I believe, the weekend. On top of the other ones for the fly fishing show, Edison, Denver, Colorado, Edison, New Jersey, Atlanta, Georgia, and Pleasanton, California. So we're looking forward to those as well.
Yeah. And if you go to the events page on the Articulate Fly website, you'll find links for all of those events there. And, folks, even though it's getting a little chillier, it's a great time to get out on the water. And if you see Mac Brown, you have to wish him happy birthday. Happy early birthday, Mac.
Thanks, Marvin. Hope everybody has a good holiday season.
Yeah, tight lines, everybody.
Tight lines, Marvin.